In a loaded cornerback class, LSU's Mansoor Delane looks like the #1 corner prospect in the 2026 NFL Draft. Delane quickly became a household name for the LSU Tigers this season, earning unanimous All-American honors with 2 interceptions and 11 pass breakups on the year. However, Delane wasn't always an SEC star. Coming out of high school in Maryland as a 3-star recruit with a handful of ACC and Big Ten offers, Delane committed to Virginia Tech, where he saw playing time almost immediately as a true freshman, and over his 3 seasons with the Hokies, he finished with 6 interceptions, 16 pass breakups, and 4 forced fumbles before transferring to LSU for his final college season. That move to Baton Rouge has turned Mansoor into a complete cornerback prospect. At 6'1" and 190 pounds, Delane has the size, length, athletic ability, and instincts to be a legitimate shutdown corner at the NFL level. So let's show you that skill set by diving into Delane's first game as a Tiger back in late August against the Clemson Tigers to show you why he's cornerback 1 in this draft in today's episode of Best Available. Thank you for watching today's episode. Make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube if you're not already. I apologize that we did not have a video on Wednesday. We were going through a couple YouTube related things, but the good news is we're all set. Everything should be good going forward. So we are back today, and next week is the NFL Combine. So if you are looking for winners, insights from Indianapolis, I am based out of here. I am credentialed. I will be in Indianapolis for the Combine. So stay tuned, stay subscribed, and you'll see plenty of updates next week as all the drills and interviews and everything else takes place down in downtown. I've been really excited to do this video for a while, mostly because I've been a fan of Delane since this past season at Virginia Tech. I thought he was going to declare last year. I had a full scouting report for him, had a grade, and I had like a late day 2 grade on him. And then I saw he transferred to LSU, and I was not expecting him to become cornerback 1 in this class. He's just really become a truly complete player that does deserve to be, an early first-round pick. And this Clemson game was kind of his coming out party to a national college football audience. So we're going to show you a handful of plays from this game, starting with this one where we have this little stack. These stacks can be tricky based on the releases of these receivers and your cornerback's responsibilities. If we have like some kind of cross like this, sometimes the cornerback can be so focused, he drifts and gives up his zone, all kinds of stuff like that. But the thing that keeps standing out from this specific season for Delane is those instincts and understanding of like when there's no threats in my zone, I can veer off. And this is a good example of that. He's going to have deep drop responsibilities, and he's just going to kind of watch these routes develop. Let's get this rolling. So he's getting his hips flipped, and then as he's watching these releases, he notices both receivers are breaking inside. So Delane starts veering off his assignment or drop a little bit, and he starts following number 1, and then he sees the ball out in the air, so he's just going to trigger on it. Not a good decision by Cade Klubnik. I mean, we literally have safety help and corner help here. This is about as bracketed as a wide receiver could get. So I'm not sure what Klubnik's thinking here. Not a good decision, but I still love Delane here with the instincts to break on this ball. One of the things he's really good at is when he's being targeted, doesn't really panic when the ball's in the air. He just contorts his body, times the catch point well, and just tries not to be overly grabby. He does a very nice job of that. In fact, not only did he not allow a single touchdown in coverage this season, 0 penalties. For a corner that, is a guy that, like a #1 dude, that's hard to do. It's very impressive stuff. But I just like this play. Delane feeling that route combination, starting to drift inside, and then as he sees that quarterback wind up to throw, break, try to undercut this, then make a nice play on the ball. Let's show the end zone angle too so you can see that catch point. So again, as Klubnik throws this, I'm not sure what he's seeing. I mean, we got this guy a pretty easy throwing window here, especially with this safety dropping to depth. But that's besides the point. Delane is right here on the right side. Just a really nice job at this catch point, just attacking it, making sure that #1 cannot get to the ball. It's an awfully nice play. I never shut up about it, regardless of what position we're talking about on defense, but I want guys that can fill the run. And Delane is right here on the bottom of the screen. I wouldn't say he's the strongest or hit stick kind of tackler at cornerback, but man, he is willing, and that is all I need from a corner, with his size and measurables and length. Because if he can fit the run with the way he covers, man, like we're all set here. We're good. So he's going to read run. He's going to knife around this block. I'm not sure what this receiver's thinking. He should probably cover the more dangerous threat here. But Delane reads run, gets around that block. And then I just love, he's just sticking. I mean, that's great tackling for him there. As he gets off that block, he reads, he's going full into the hip, He's getting low, diving through. He's not stopping his feet at contact. And like, I would wish he'd drive a little more sometimes, but in this instance, like, he's got such a clean shot. His helmet's in front of the ball carrier. He's launching his shoulders into that hip and just firing off. And that's just a clean tackling technique from a corner that you don't really expect to fill the run. And I've still got questions. I know sometimes in blocking responsibilities, you're asking the wide receiver to climb to the safety, but in this situation, would have just preferred, like, Delane's the more dangerous threat here, and that's an awfully nice take. It's a successful run for Clemson, but I did appreciate the effort and tackling technique there from Delane. Admittedly, there's not a lot here, but I wanted to show you this clip, just honestly, just because it made me laugh. But we've got Delane here at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to give him credit. He reads this mesh really well. So we're just going to have, drag, spot, stop based on man or zone. And then we're going to have here. And we're trying to create a natural rub on this, these defenders with this wide receiver. But Delane's instincts are great here. As soon as he reads mesh, he's breaking on it. He's trying to stay over the top so that when that ball comes, he can have some kind of tackling angle on this. It's a really nice job by Delane reading that. Sifts through traffic, linebacker's out of position. He still gets over that, keeps his speed going. But what kills me here, I'm not sure why this guy thought he was going to get away with it, but just clobbered for a very blatant OPI. And thank goodness this ref, you see him throw the flag in the back. Like, if no other ref spotted this, I would have not blamed Delane for getting ejected from this game for being that angry. Let me show it again so my big-ass head's not in the way. But again, Delane at the bottom of the screen. Just love the way he quickly recognizes mesh, weaves through that traffic, and he's making a play on this ball, for almost zero, maybe a couple yards after the catch, because of his instincts and ability to go through traffic and stay in phase with that receiver. Just gets clobber knocked on just the most blatant OPI you'll see. And still can't believe it has to be the back judge that is the one that calls it, but did make me laugh pretty hard. I had to show it, not only because of the block, but it was good instincts and movement skills to stick with that mesh route, which is harder than you'd think for a corner. We've got Delane again at the bottom of the screen here from a press alignment. And what I love about Delane, he can press in a variety of ways. He's got the length and size, to try and jam guys, but he moves so fluidly, he doesn't really have to rely on that from press. And he's just so patient with, a wide receiver's release before committing his hips. You don't want to flip your hips the wrong way. Like, let's say he flips them this direction and the wide receiver goes out. Instead of just already having your flips and just following, you have to turn your hips and go around. And that kind of momentum can just slow you down. And you're just at this level of football where everyone's just crazy athletic. That little hip turn to get up to full speed is just a nightmare. That's GG's. Like, you're just not going to be able to catch up. So you got to stay patient and press and waiting for that wide receiver's release. And what I love here, this wide receiver's waiting for him to commit off his release. And you can see Delane's just staying square this whole time. This wide receiver's still waiting. We're like 3-4 yards down the line of scrimmage, and this wide receiver's still dancing, and Delane is not committed. And then by the time he finally commits, Delane feels it, gets his hips flipped, and then he's just kind of using natural contact. He's not being grabby. He's just using sideline as leverage, getting his body in front of the receiver. And by that time, the ball's in the air. Delane tracks it. He does little airplane arms. He's just, without being grabby, impeding the wide receiver's ability to get this ball. The timing is just completely disrupted, though, from the beginning. Because if you watch this just off the release, just watch how patient Delane is this whole way. And by that time the receiver finally breaks in the route, this timing is all thrown off. He just keeps waiting for Delane to commit one way or the other and just no hope. And then Delane just does a great job using his body without grabbing, just getting on the hip pocket of that receiver and then tracking the ball. This is the stuff where when Delane's at the NFL level, he is going to be really, really useful to a team that needs, a lockdown corner, because stuff like this is just NFL caliber play. This time we got Delane at the top of the screen. Another example of him just staying patient through that release on a receiver. And it's almost the identical play, just on the other side. He's staying patient. Notice that release is coming. He's staying square. He's not committing. He's not jamming. He just trusts that he can move more efficiently than the receiver. He doesn't really need to resort to jamming. Then he feels that outside release, but he's still staying patient. His hips are now flipped, but he's not, completely turning and running. He's still waiting for this receiver in his release. And then you see him break. And then Delane does a great job. Those hips are flipped. He is just playing a little hand fighting, but just kind of using his body to lean on that receiver, keep drifting him towards the sideline, making that throwing window harder and harder. Then that ball's in the air. He's going to turn, locate it, incompletion. Patience can still be disruptive, because when a receiver is trying to run their route based on how you're committing, it makes the timing of everything thrown off. And Delane's just a blanket here throughout that route, and then just gets a little contact, and there's just no hope of this ball ever being completed, just because of how disciplined Delane is in press coverage and just the way he moves. Like, so many spastic corners I watched, like that first subtle movement from the wide receiver, they want to lunge, they want to jam. On that second release, they might bite down and try and jump the route. Delane has none of that in his DNA. He's just so calm and patient. Now, this is where I really think Delane shines. I got him top of the screen. He is just so reliable as a zone coverage corner, of not covering grass, using his eyes. And yeah, he drifts a little bit off of his zone, but the reasons he always does it are the right reasons. He's reading quarterback's eyes, he's reading route concepts, and he's jumping passes. And he's so good at that. So I'm going to actually show you another play from a different game after this one to show you how he can do it from a different couple of coverage alignments. We actually have a cover 3 look here. This safety is buzzing down. We've got cover 3 here. This safety's going deep third. And then we've got a corner at the bottom of the screen, off screen, that's also going deep third. And if you've ever seen that Tom Brady commercial about having the knowledge of Tom Brady, it's like when you see cover 3 and the safety rotates down, you rip the seam, right? So we're going to throw that seam ball. Delane's got deep third responsibilities, and in theory, with these deep third responsibilities, there should be a throwing window right here against cover 3, ripping the seam. So Delane at the top of the screen is getting in that bail coverage. He's keeping his eyes on Klubnik and where his eyes are going. We've got like a little hitch here, so he's not worried about that with his deep responsibilities. And as he feels that seam coming, he's going to drift off of his deep third and break on this. Now, the throw is bad, but because he starts breaking on that route, he's in the position to make this play. And it's my favorite trait of Delane's that I feel like has really come alive this year. This guy's instincts in zone. So we're dropping in that. He feels that seam coming. This is not a threat to him in his deep third responsibilities. We are not worried about underneath routes, because if we're worried about this, some kind of route could get open deep here. We don't want that. But him feeling that seam route and then just drifting off of his zone to cover that is just such a great play. And I know you're gonna be like, yeah, he overthrew it. Let me show you another play from the Florida game that'll give you another example of just his instincts in zone. We've got Delane top of the screen here, and he's just going to be like in a cover 2 or a flat coverage where he's just responsible for anything underneath. So you're going to see him get into that. He's going to jam, and then he's just going to stay patient here. He feels this receiver going vertical, so it's no longer his zone assignment. He's reading that QB's eyes because he's the flat defender. Watch him just break on this ball as a flat defender this time. That's the kind of stuff we want from our corner, is we just want that kind of discipline. When he feels when he understands his responsibility and knows, like, I'm not going to worry about other stuff outside of my control, but there's no threats in my zone, I can really read the QB's eyes and break on the ball. And he is just so fluid and instinctive with this stuff. It's really exciting to watch. And it's why I'm willing to put him as CB1 in this draft class. All right, we've got this trips bunch right here with these 3 receivers. You know, we're communicating like, hey, we've got 3 out here. We need to bump out, safety bumping over. What's the responsibility here? But Delane is right here. I want you to watch. Sticky in his coverage, then he's making a play away from his assignment. So he understands based on how the communication, he's got outside threat. So he's going to follow that guy. He's going to run that curl route, and you can watch as he breaks down on that. Just Delane is so sticky. He's just not letting that guy get any kind of space on that route. Then he realizes the ball's actually going to this guy on the other side of the field. He reacts, he breaks on it, and then just awfully punishing hit. Maybe he needs to get his head one way or the other, but I love the effort here. After he's done a great job with his assignment, breaking off the ball, making a physical hit. Let's go ahead and rewind that. So he's going to be sticky to that outside threat, not give up any separation on that route stem as he's trying to break on like a curl comeback route here, and then just as soon as he reads that ball is going elsewhere, just really wants to punish that player for making a play. And that's just the kind of competitor that Delane is all day, every day. Another thing that Delane is just so damn good at is these quick slants. Like, his entire tape is filled with playing sticky coverage against 3-step slants, five-step glances, and then just attacking that catch point because he's so long and just moves different than a lot of these guys. Got him on that island here. We're just going to have that inside release, Delane's going to feel a little bit of hand fighting, get in that hip pocket, feel that break, stay in that hip pocket, and then as soon as that ball comes, attack the catch point. You've got to attack that catch point. Too many guys in a situation like this are worried about making a tackle, but Delane's so confident in his abilities that as soon as that ball hits the wide receiver's hands, you can see his hands reaching up right there to grab it, and he's trying to like attack that football by any means necessary, especially because it's on 4th down. To break up that, it's a turnover on downs. LSU's getting the ball right back. Jermon McCoy is extremely talented. There's a lot of questions about his medical evaluations heading into the combine, but I feel like at this point, even if those check out, I am just a huge fan of what Delane's been doing. Cannot wait to see how he tests at the combine, along with a lot of other guys, but this is CB1 for me. What do you think of Delane? Who's your cornerback one? I hope you've enjoyed Cornerbacks Week over here at Best Available. And a reminder, if you're already this far in the video and have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate all the support over the last few months, and it is full draft season, so be down in Indianapolis next week with all kinds of content. Justice will be joining me for some O-line talk on Draft Talk, so stay tuned for that as well. Thank you so much for watching Best Available, and we will be back later.